Hi guys, it's New Year's. Can I tell you guys something? I solidly believe that if my campaign messaging actually made it out to key voters across swing states that determined the outcome of the last election, like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, and Nevada, across my social platforms, Kamala Harris would have won this election. Because with the exception of Kamala Harris herself and Tim Walz, Democrats did a horrible, unappealing job in trying to win over voters. They focused solely on abortion and civil rights. And some of them even said, quote, I can't believe some people actually care about grocery prices and high inflation over basic humanity and human rights. Of course they do. That's what determines an election outcome every single time. It's almost like these Democrats who were preaching this were working for the Republicans in electing Donald Trump because they weren't selling anything to the average Joe voter that we needed on our side. They made it sound like, yeah, Republicans do have better plans for the economy, but we dominate on social issues. Nobody cares about social issues. That is not a prevalent campaign messaging. Kamala Harris slaughtered Donald Trump on economic issues. But because of people like you, that messaging got impeded and people didn't realize that. It didn't reach out to those necessary voters. This is the main thing that we need to do if we want to win back and take back the White House in 2028. For God's sakes, we need to wake the hell up. And we need to start expressing and communicating our stances on fiscal issues more than our views on social issues. Okay, listen. In the last election, abortion wasn't a winning issue. And it never is in a presidential campaign, regardless of the circumstances. Even if your opponent is the one who overturned Roe versus Wade. Okay? Roe v. Wade got overturned in 2022 before the midterm elections. And what happened? Republicans got trounced across the country, even in ruby red states, because their stances of a very relevant issue at that time did not sit well with the typical American because they were too extreme. That has worn off far, far ago. When people think of who to vote for in an approaching presidential election, this has always been like this. They think about what is better for my pocket and my economic status. Not that guy over there, but my economic status. Now, all Republicans had to do in this election was communicate a visceral and simple slogan. Inflation is bad. The economy is bad. You can't afford anything at the grocery store. That's bad. Well, what will I actually do to resolve those problems? Nothing. And I won't communicate with that to voters because I don't need to. Trump didn't even come up with a single damn plan or a concept of a plan to do anything to combat these issues during the campaign trail. Nothing for how he would attempt to lower grocery prices, stop inflation, or reduce our debt, or even help with the problem at the border that he sure likes to act all pretentious about. He just said that he could say, close the border, and it would immediately get closed. That is not how it works. Voters just wanted change, and Trump told them he would bring change. Without saying how, but he still told them that he would bring change to this country, and that's what people were, were craving at that time. You tell me what is better. Our economic forefront and our agenda, which is expanding the child tax credit, increasing the federal minimum wage, fighting to guarantee sick and family paid leave, taxing the richest 1% and the biggest, wealthiest, greedy corporations, and giving that money, the surplus of money, to hardworking Americans and using it to invest in the best interest of the middle class, not the richest CEOs of this country like Donald Trump is doing, wiping out our healthcare debt for millions of Americans, especially uninsured and insured Americans, giving small businesses more in tax deductions for small business startups funded by the rich, who get handouts by the federal government and providing subsidies of down payment assistance for young first-time homebuyers, or is this one better? The MAGA Republican pro-billionaire agenda, which is taxing the middle-class families with mass deportations, which will cost an estimated $315 billion, who is going to ultimately cover this cost. Who do you think's that going to be? Well, this is going to be covered by the taxpayers' expense, further enriching folks like, Elon Musk and the top wealthiest 1% by giving them tax breaks and making us more of what we already are, of an oligarchy, and tariffs on everything, on every country that we depend on for our imports. And that is including the tariffs that Donald Trump has suggested that he would put on Canada and Mexico. And guess what happened as a result? As a result, Canada has issued, understandably actually, a retaliatory response to these tariffs by cutting off energy that it provides to the United States. And what would be the repercussions of this? Any guesses? Anybody? Northern states that heavily rely on electricity provided from Ontario, Canada, states like New York and Pennsylvania, and my home state where I live right now, of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan. These are states that voted for Donald Trump with the exception of New York and Illinois. This would leave millions in the dark, all because of Donald Trump's irresponsible tariffs. That would not only hurt Canada, but it would hurt us too. And price-wise, because we get, a whole bunch of stuff from other countries. Canada has also threatened to seize crude oil imports into the United States, which guess what that would do? That would increase gas prices, almost like you've been complaining about them for the last goddamn 4 years. We need to have a huge awakening, and we need to build a coalition among our party if we want to have any chance of winning in the future. We need to have a campaign focus to run on. And I hate to say this, but abortion rights are not going to be restored nationwide anytime soon at this point. Anytime soon. And abortion rights don't affect everyone. Therefore, what some people are interpreting is, well, this has absolutely nothing to do with me, so why would I vote for someone who is running on these issues instead of the issues that affect me? And what we need, particularly, is that voter. We need that voter who is asking that question. And who is worried about these bread and butter issues that affect them in their everyday lives. And we need to make sure that that guy knows we have better economic policy platforms, while Donald Trump and MAGA does not. They have no idea what they're doing. But they've brainwashed people into thinking they know what they're doing by stating the obvious. Inflation's bad. Prices are way too high. You can't buy eggs. You can't buy bacon. Well, what are you going to do? You can't snap your fingers and that all works out. But we had a plan. But Democrats did not express that enough. Kamala Harris did, and Tim Walz did. That's it. Nobody else did. These TikTok influencers and everything, they all talked about, abortion rights and people getting, people dying while carrying their pregnancy to term. That's horrible. That's appalling. That's atrocious and abhorrent. But that has nothing to do with this white middle-class lumberjack working man who is trying to figure out a reason to vote for the Democratic Party when they are just throwing this in their face. Come on, guys. We got a lot of work to do. And we need to come together as concentration as a whole if we want to move in the next step forward.